responsibility equals power.
Ooh.
Yes, responsibility equals power. And I'm actually going to start this way because you guys can get the other handouts. Make sure they go that way. Responsibility is when you take something on, when you take on a role in a group, when you say, I'm going to do this thing, you have power. How many of you have stepped into leadership accidentally by picking up a broom after a ritual?
Taking the garbage out.
Taking the garbage out.
Doing the cooking. Yeah.
Okay. Any number of those different kinds of things. When you step into power, you have more impact. And so figuring out how power moves in your group is really, really important. And if you don't have that designated, it actually, you do have covert leadership that's happening, it's just not addressed. And if you can't, if it's not overt, if you haven't addressed who's in power, then that person's not accountable. So establishing who is leading what functions, even if your group is meeting and leading in consensus, holds you accountable. So it's really important to establish those actual, whatever your leadership structure is, and there's dozens of them.
And there's lots of implied leadership. You know, whether it's a person who's kind of the downer, who's kind of blocking a lot of the good ideas, whether it's that person, or it's a person who has a really cool house with like secret passages or anything like that, and you want to meet in their house because, damn it, I want to do ritual in the cool house with the cool fire pit. That person who has a cool house has power.
Yeah. Power can be, I'm the person donating to make this event happen. Power can be, we're meeting in my house. Power can be, I'm the person with the loudest voice. Power is the ability to take an action. And power is not a bad word, because when I'm empowered, when I'm confident in myself as a leader, and when I'm confident in myself as a ritualist, and I say, hey, I heard that you want to learn to do, big 500-person public rituals. Awesome. Let's talk and let's work together on that. When I teach you to do things that I'm already doing, I'm empowering you. I'm building up your power. It doesn't take mine away. It doesn't mean I'm less than. It means we can work together. So look at power in your groups and look at, does your group have an issue with the word power? Have a conversation about it. I mean, that's a discussion night for your group right there. That's an activity you can do together. So this cycle of power is also, it also can show how the cycle of burnout happens. So how many of you have seen the group or been in the group or are in the group where one person steps in to make a big thing happen and then a few other people join in, but then that person who stepped in to do things has to take on more things, maybe it was you, and you keep on having to fulfill more responsibilities, and then nobody else is stepping in to help, and you burn out.
Let me tell you how I had a nervous breakdown about 1.5 years ago. So I was running a group. It was actually a pagan night out. That's how it started. And people said, wow, this is kind of cool. We're meeting once a month. Wow, there's pagans in the city. Then it said, we should do ritual. All right, who else wants to do ritual? Well, Mark, you've had the most ritual experience. Why don't you run the rituals? All right, no problem. So I got a one month pagan night out and ritual. Hey, let's have a bar night because pagans like to drink. All right, there's a place that's kind of like a hobbit hole that we can drink at. We could have a bar night. That's 3 events. Yep. This turned into book discussion, a crafting night. I was running by the end about 7 different events a month on my own. Then
plus working a 60-hour work week.
So I'm working like 120 hours a week. Yeah. Then I lose one team.
One team member,
and then it goes, and then I get another team. And at the end, I'm lost my freaking mind because I'm working 60 hours a full-time job, 60 hours plus community building, and I have no time for my own spiritual life. I have no time even to sleep, let alone eat or do anything other than drink energy drinks. And this was like my pathway to burnout.
So I'm actually, we've got just a couple of minutes before dinner starts, so I'm going to just burn through a couple more tools, and then certainly we can talk.
Not to make a bad pun on burnout.
Yes.
And I am much better now. So.
Yes. But so this whole cycle of power and responsibility is, you're a leader. You're taking responsibility. That gives you power. That gives you impact over your group. But be careful how much responsibility you're taking. And if it's too much, if your group can't sustain it, You might, and I've had to do this. I wanted to run a big, ginormous conference in Chicago, and I had to back off on it because I didn't have enough team members to pull it off.
And that doesn't make you a bad person.
No, it means you're being responsible and stewarding your time and stewarding yourself.
Going back to what Dorothy and Tish were saying in their workshop, harm none means not harming yourself.
Yeah. So I'm going to pass out it's a handout on group dynamics. And this is literally a tool that we could,
spend a weekend on.
We could spend a whole weekend on, and I have. But it's about looking at group needs based on the astrological wheel.
Oh, cool.
So an example of that is, if you look at this, it's not to say that all Leos need to be in the spotlight and need more attention than anybody else.
Or that the treasurer for your group needs to be a Taurus. That's not what we're saying here. Though that might happen.
Oh, here's more to pass.
But what we're saying is that your group... All right, back. Astrology, the 4 elements, the 7 chakras, like I was saying in the alchemy class, all of these things are mesocosms or psychocosms or reality maps. These are things that we overlay over experience in order to understand them and take a look at the patterns so that we can work with them and we can learn from them and actually do something. So in this reality map of astrology, we're applying this to group dynamics and the needs of the group. So for example, if you look at Taurus, if I remember Taurus being needs of
Physical comforts.
Yes, comfort, resources, our need to be safe and secure. Also funding. How are you going to have that really cool statue of Tish with the Statue of Liberty torch and she's the goddess of liberty? Where are we getting the money for that? That would be a very Taurus need in the group.
Here's some more at the second page.
Now, you might notice, just like in astrology, the opposite end of the wheel has a dynamic that's equal and opposite. So the opposite of Taurus is Scorpio. Death, sex, money, and power.
Cutting away all the things that do not serve.
So a Taurus might be, okay, we're going to do a fundraiser, we're going to do some bake sales, it'll be really fun. Scorpio might say, okay, who's responsible for the money? Can we be transparent in this?
Who's making the decisions about this?
Who's got the power to make decisions about the money? I baked 14 hours for this bake sale. I want to know where the money goes.
Yeah.
This isn't a bad thing. And the person in your group that raises these questions is not bad.
Right.
They're saying something that they have a right to say.
So this is just a mode for you to look through, and I've got extra copies of both the first and the second pages up here if you need them. Look at the things that are coming up in your group. One of the most common things that I see is people who want to be special. They want to be seen for being unique and for being valued. That's Leo. That's not a bad need. That's just a human need. But when we don't have that need, when that need is not being met, we tend to act out of it.
Who here wants to be the cool kid, or was seen as the cool kid, or the special kid of, oh, I have a gift from the gods, or
who has seen somebody who is just totally trying to be the center of attention all the time. It's not bad to have the need, it's how you are getting the need met.
There's enough light for us all to shine.
So looking at this tool, you can look at where things are coming up and then look at what's on either side of it. Look at what's across from it. What does it mean? Look at that person and what wounds may they have gone through in the past where they're trying to get this need met and they're not doing it in a way that's effective. So this is just a way to look at and frame some of the dynamics that pop up in your group. Where are they coming from?
And here's another dirty secret. The needs of your group are also your needs.
Yes.
You can apply this reality map to your life so that just as your group has a need for comfort and resources, you have a need for comfort and resources. And when your needs aren't being met, when any of these needs aren't being met, then you're going to act out. I know when I had problems in my group, I acted out and I ruined my group. And that's because I was on a path to burnout and I wasn't taking care of my needs. I've seen this happen not only with myself, but dozens of other leaders across the entire country.
So one final tool is the tool of boundaries. And if I can sum up the boundaries tool in a nutshell, it's that it's not about you. It's not always about you.
Can you repeat, like on the count, repeat after us. It's not
About me. So here's an example of this. Let's say I'm really stoked about this parade idea. I'm like, I want to come back into town and we're going to do a whole big parade downtown. All right. So I'm going to have you run the marketing and you're going to run security and you guys are going to get decorations and you guys are going to put flyers out and you're really good at cooking, so I'm going to have you guys cook all the stuff for this event so we can feed people as we're marching down the street, and you guys are great musicians, so you're going to play music while we're doing this at the event, blah, 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 blah. Full moon. I am shining my moonlight out on you. I am mooning you. I'm not giving you the opportunity to say no. I'm just, and maybe I'm even asking, but I'm asking in that way that's like, I know you're really, really good at security and I'd really like you to help with the event. I'm asking you, but I'm not asking you. Here's the thing. When you're so full of the idea, and how many of you are one of those visionary folks, you come up with ideas and you get excited and you want to do things. Okay, you, like me, are susceptible to this one, all right? So here's your homework. When you're so full up with the idea, when your cup is full and it's overflowing and it's spilling, do you pressure other people to do things? Do you strong arm them to do things? Do you give them the opportunity to say no? If you aren't giving people the opportunity to say no up at the front, they're going to drop the ball at the end. I've pressured people into doing something, and then 6 months later say, hey, you were doing managing all the presenters. How did that go? Who'd you get? And then there's no email back. I call you, you don't pick up. Crickets.
In our culture, no doesn't mean just no. Shauna, tell me no.
Well, what are you asking me to do?
Shauna, can you make a new website for me?
No.
And you hate my mother.
There's a great book by Angeles Arrien called The Fourfold Path or The Fourfold Way. It talks about native culture. Tribal cultures, if I say, hey, I need help building my hut over here, can you help me out? And you say no, it's like, oh, okay, no. In America, if I say, hey, I've got this great artistic vision for this project, will you help me out with this? And you say no, it's not only do you hate my project, but you hate me.
Right.
Okay, so here's the thing with boundaries. Become a 2-year-old. Learn to say no. When somebody asks you to do things, how many of you say yes all the time because you want that person to like you, or you don't want to say no, you want to hurt their feelings, or whatever it is. Yeah. If you have that urge, and you know it if you have it, I have it, if you have that urge, look at what do you have the capacity to do. Can you say no? Should you say no to be able to serve the other things that are on your plate? Yep. Learn to say no. And here's how I say no to make sure that they understand that I don't hate them, their project, or their mother.
Shauna, can you help me with build a new website?
I would love to, but right now my plate's really full with other projects. I'd be happy if you have somebody else design it. I'd be happy to take a look at it and offer some feedback. Okay. But I don't really have time to build it on my own right now.
All right, thanks, Shauna.
I try and give them, I try and say, hey, your project sounds really great and I wish I could help. But my plate's really full right now with these other projects and I wouldn't be serving those folks if I did this. So, give an out with the no. Like make sure that they know that you affirm and support them and that it's just that you don't have time.
And if someone has a big
as long as that's true.
And if someone has a big blow-up reaction, well, then we can go back to our 4 levels of reality tool.
And you can have a conversation about it.
Exactly. Anytime you have a problem in your group, this is awesome, because this is an opportunity for personal growth, not just for that person, but for yourself. And you can become better by solving these problems one thing at a time.
I'd rather deal with it as a blow up in the moment than have a festering scab where 10 years later you hate me and I have no idea why. Right. Yeah. So boundaries, learn to say no, learn to hear no. Learn to ask in a way that's, hey, you're really good at organizing a bake sale, and I'd love it if you'd help out this event. And I know you're really busy, and I totally understand if you can't.
All right. We are unfortunately out of time.
And we're at time. So our boundary is we're going to end the workshop, but
so that people can have dinner.
So people can have the boundary of dinner.
And if you have any other questions, please come talk with us.
Please come and talk with us, and please do come in and give us your contact information so that we can give you more handouts. And
We have more handouts.
we do have more handouts. Handouts, yes.
All right, everyone, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very
And
much.
Blessings.
Absolutely. Thank you.